Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. Here's the investor, Jim Chanos. Bets on Bitcoin, but shorts MicroStrategy. Interesting. People that have short a MicroStrategy have done really poorly. You don't really want to short MicroStrategy, but this guy is. But basically, he's saying, I have nothing against Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin, but I don't like companies that are riding the Bitcoin bandwagon and seeing tremendous gains. That's what he's saying. He may be regretting that decision, shorting MicroStrategy. Others have tried. That Financial Times person said she tried, and she failed miserably. So shorting MicroStrategy historically hasn't been a wise move, but maybe he knows something we don't. But nevertheless, no one wants to short Bitcoin. No one wants to bet against Bitcoin. Billionaires around the world also. Like I talk about billionaires all the time. One of the richest men on earth from Mexico, Ricardo, I don't know if I forgot his last name. But he has like 70% of his portfolio in Bitcoin. I know the CEO of Standard Chartered, he says he has most of his portfolio in Bitcoin. And you got all these other people now, Asian billionaires, that have a ton of Bitcoin too. In fact, they're selling off their USD right now because of all the turmoil with the tariffs and stuff. And guess what? They're buying Bitcoin with it too. This is exactly why Bitcoin was actually created. Because of distrust in banks, distrust in governments, distrust in fiat. It was created as alternative gold. And we're actually really starting to see it play out. We actually see billionaires actually embrace Bitcoin. And that's really hard. These guys are really trying to protect their wealth at this stage in their career. They're not trying, well, I shouldn't say, some are probably trying to still make more money and trying to become trillionaires. But at this stage in most of these guys, they're trying to protect their wealth. That's why a lot of them buy assets like real estate or gold or whatever, right? But for them to embrace Bitcoin, that shows you a lot, how much they trust it and how far Bitcoin has come. It's really a crazy, amazing thing. You just don't see this in prior cycles. You just don't see this. It's completely new. All these things, a lot of things I'm talking about, seems like it's been forever. It's only like within the last few years. Even in a 2021 cycle, we didn't hear about these things. It's all new. That's the crazy thing. We're starting this new path, and hopefully you guys are recognizing it. Bitcoin is on a totally different trajectory starting from here on out. And the landscape is going to be totally different. It really is. All right. A few other things. Coinbase's John Agostino, D'Agostino, says Bitcoin ETFs drives record inflows. Miner can't keep up. Well, that's obvious. Okay. There's only so much being produced, which is very little. Very little. It's like 450 per day or something like that. Okay. You got all the major corporate players and small corporations and countries and states and billionaires and long-term holders and even miners themselves are buying. Again, the scarcity factor, it's important. And I said this last night. This is also important. All Bitcoin holders are in profit, or at least even. Think about that. All the depressed people in the space are non-Bitcoin holders. That's basically what it comes down to. If you are holding Bitcoin, you can't be depressed because you are in profit, or at least even. But if you are holding a ton of alts, yeah, I could see how you're still not feeling it. You're not feeling all the gains yet. But, you know, it'll come. It'll come. Even if you bought at 109, if you DCA'd, you should be at even now. And those that DCA'd, even just slightly, when we went down to 70, 80, 90, we held there for a long time. Even if you DCA a little bit, you would be, your cost average would be below where we are, I believe. Yeah. All right, last few things. According to this, the funding rates on exchanges are still quite low. This means several things. Usually when the funding rates gets really hot, means that we are coming to a peak. Okay, either a top or a local peak. This happens all the time. For example, when we had a huge, tremendous jump from September to March, September 23 to March of 24, when we jumped up from like 30K to 73K, look at the funding rate. Everyone was going crazy with their leverage, right? And then we hit a top. Same thing. When we went up from our, 50K to 110K, the funding rates were hot, really hot. Not as hot as before, but still. A lot of people were making money left and right, leveraging everything, right? But look at where we are now. We recover back up. Well, you can't really see with the camera. We recover back up and look at the funding rate. It's like non-existent. So this is telling us a couple things. Number one, we're not in that parabolic phase. We're nowhere close to that next top yet. Okay, so that's a beautiful thing. That's number one. Maybe when we approach like 200,000, we're going to see the funding rates skyrocket like the other two times. So that's good. And the second thing is, right now, we are recovering back up basically just due to spot buying, like Miles says. Just due to good old spot buying, long-term buying, DCA. And that is awesome. That is quite okay. Again, it adds up. It adds up. All right. Now, the next breakout point, the target zone, there are some that, there are some that are saying once we break 109, 110, the next zone is around 120, but there are some that say it's more like 140. So I'm just going to say the zone is between 120 and 140. Right? But regardless, that's just the next zone. If you look at the stair-step manner that Bitcoin is moving right now in this cycle, it looks very similar to prior cycles. Even though we have very different scenarios going on right now. Obviously, I've mentioned macro scenario is very different. The maturity, the embracing of Bitcoin with the institutions and even countries and so forth, obviously very different. But Bitcoin's price movement is very similar, even though it's like 100 times higher. It really is, or it's even over 100 times higher than prior cycles. But the movement is always the same. There's a stair-step manner in which Bitcoin moves. And if you zoom in, even a prior cycle, you'll see that, hey, we had some nasty drops before. Way more volatile than what we're seeing now. But we had plenty of them. But when you zoom out, you just don't really pay attention. All you pay attention to is the huge rise up. But if you zoom in, you'll see plenty of 30, 40% drops and a hell of a lot of 10, 15, 20% drops. Just like what we're seeing. But we're seeing a lot less of that, obviously, because, you know, everything's much bigger now. So, again, those of you guys that are new or growing impatient, know that this is normal. This is just how it is. Bitcoin doesn't just like reach a top within 6 months. You don't want that to happen anyways. That's why we call it a 4-year cycle, right? The last year and a half is the parabolic phase, and it takes a year and a half. We are above 100,000. This is a level we only dreamt of a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? And we're not done. We are heading higher, but you just have to give it time. Just like prior cycles, you had to give it time too. We kept going in these stair-step, you know, these stair-step movements. And it's going to be the same thing this time around too. Once we break through our current high, the next stop, you know, 120, 140. Actually, this one is projecting our next stop is 150. And then after that, the next stop is projecting 260. And if we have even a greater blow off top than that, you know, maybe we get 500,000. That's what CZ says. CZ says 500,000 by the end of this cycle.